Afternoon, mate.
Hello. Hey, mate. How are you doing?
How are you doing? Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. Thank you. All great. So, how's it going? Everything fine in London? Are you?
I'm not in London. No, I'm in Yorkshire, but everything's good up here. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. You will do the interview, and we will do. Can we start already?
Yeah, man. Let's dive in. Why not?
Yes. Yeah. Already 60 people in, almost. Okay. Today. Hello community, today we were talking with Delphian Gallery, a London-based nomadic gallery and arts platform founded back in 2017 by Benjamin Murphy and Nick J. Thompson. And tonight they will talk about their artists, their program, and how they will confront the current pandemic scenario. Thank you so much. And maybe we can start a little bit how you founded the gallery, talking about yourself and the gallery program. Yeah,
no problem. So me and my business partner, Nick J.S. Thompson, founded Delphian 2017, but we met in 2012. Nick used to run a magazine. That magazine did a feature on my first solo show. Back in 2012. So we met then. We started kind of hanging out and unofficially working together. So we would, whenever one of us, because we're both artists as well, so whenever one of us was installing one of our own solo shows or anything like that, the other one would kind of cast an eye over it, give advice, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then we curated a show in my studio, I think 2014, and then we kind of didn't really do anything with the idea for a while. I suppose it was always kind of on the back burner. The idea was there, I suppose.
Okay.
And then 2017, we kind of ramped it up and started curating shows in a place called the Print Space, which is owned by a friend of ours, Stuart Watlington. Mm-hmm. And then it took over our lives, really. It's now like a full-time job that we never intended for it to become that. And we never thought, like, let's start a gallery. We just thought, let's start sharing some artwork by artists whose work we love, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you're writing on your title, like it's kind of a nomadic gallery. What does it mean exactly? Can you more closely?
Well, so because we're both full-time artists, we can't commit to, say, doing a program of 12 shows a year plus art fairs. So basically, and because we're such a young gallery, right? It's not been going long. We don't have a permanent space. We do around 6 or 7 shows a year. So we do a few in the Print Space every year. So we're still working with them guys. And we hire venues elsewhere for other shows. Mm-hmm. So last year we did shows we try and move around as much as possible, basically. We don't want to be stuck just in London. So last year we did San Francisco, Helsinki. This year we have Helsinki again and Paris. Depending on Corona, obviously. The Paris one's been obviously pushed back because that was supposed to be February with Florence Hutchins. So that'll definitely happen. But yeah, so basically nomadic because we don't have permanent space and we move around.
But this kind of new business approach is like pretty innovative. That you're not having like to pay the margin like every mortgage, like every month to some rented places. You were created singly then for unique artists, and then you can move to other cities, which is like pretty innovative. I think it's pretty.
Yeah.
No?
I think, I'm not sure if I'd like to call myself innovative. I think it was more born out of essentially need. We couldn't, when we started the business, obviously the business couldn't afford to all of a sudden hire a permanent space in central London where we live.
Yes.
So for that reason, we started doing kind of temporary shows in various venues. But it does give us a lot of freedom. So we have the freedom to move around, obviously. We have the freedom to kind of cater each show to a specific location. So say Florence Hutchins, she's very inspired by Impressionism, artists like Pierre Bonnard. So when we thought of doing a show in Paris, she was the obvious first choice.
Yes.
So it gives us those kind of freedoms. It also gives us the freedoms to take risks that other galleries who have permanent spaces can't really afford to take. So say we do an open call every year, which is free to enter. The exhibition is free. Basically, the artist pays nothing for any of that. And it's a print show. So the artists don't pay for their prints to be produced. So basically, it's the kind of show that isn't a show that's about selling, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we can afford to do things like that because we don't have a permanent space that we have to pay for every month.
Cool, very cool.
Or staff we have to pay for.
Yeah.
And also, so our whole ethos is about discovering and exhibiting early career artists. I think if we had permanent space in central London, we'd have to be paying like a few £1,000s per month. We would then have to start selling artworks at much higher price points to ensure that we can pay a monthly rent, which would mean we have to either force those early career artists to raise their prices, which obviously isn't good, or we'd have to start showing a different stage of career artist, which also we don't want to do.
Yeah.
So basically everything about it at the moment is really working for us. So we don't want to run before we can walk into getting a permanent space, I suppose.
Yes. So how do you do, like, you usually do your sales? You do only online sales or like PDFs? How do you then sell the works from your exhibitions or your...
So we don't... so we list things for sale on Artsy, but I don't think it's an exaggeration to say 99% of our sales are through email. So we get a lot of inquiries, obviously, that must see our work on social media, and then we do all of the kind of the discussion and the sales through email.
Yeah.
So often, so we've just got a big database now of people who've bought from us in the past or inquired, and we send out a catalogue for every show to those people, and the catalogue has a link to where those works can be purchased. But we don't list the works on sale online and then publish those links publicly. So yeah, all through email, really.
Very cool, very nice. Okay, cool. And how did you decide to open a gallery? As you said, it was like kind of a spontaneous thing. As you were like an artist, was it like your purpose, or what would you do when you wouldn't have opened a gallery?
So the first, so we also have an Instagram account called Daily Contemporary Art. We started that first. We started sharing art. We wanted to share art that we liked, basically. So we were sharing art on that. Yeah. And then we had the idea to, instead of us just share the work we liked, give that account over to other artists so they could share art that they liked, basically. Yeah. So we did that. And then we created the Delphian account so that we could share the work we liked again. And yeah, we never planned to start a gallery as such. We were just, it kind of started as an Instagram account with the idea of maybe doing 1 or 2 shows every now and then. But things kind of took off, I suppose. But me and Nick kind of will have an idea. So about a year ago, we had the idea, should we start a podcast? And then a week later, we were recording a podcast and we haven't stopped since then. So we kind of have these like on a whim ideas that we then end up following through for years. So it's kind of, it wasn't a business decision. It wasn't a long thought out process. It kind of built gradually from very modest beginnings, I suppose.
Yeah, very cool. And this kind of podcast, you're presenting your artists as well, and collectors also. Is it like a support of your artist, or is it another stream? What is it? This kind of new way of podcasting. What is your target with it?
Our target, I suppose, was to share information, share knowledge, but not our knowledge or information. So we don't want to come across as if we believe that we have the answers to everything, right? Yeah. Nobody knows everything. So we thought, let's start a podcast to talk about areas of the art world that maybe don't get talked about enough. Mm-hmm. But let's invite experts in those fields to come and talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know everything there is to know about, say, collecting. So we invite collectors to come on and speak on the podcast. So we try and, as you probably can tell now, I just talk until someone shuts me up. But so...
Oh, please continue.
For our podcast, we try and talk as little as possible. Mm-hmm. So each episode, like the guest is the draw. Me and Nick are there to just kind of guide the conversation, I suppose, and we try and talk as little as possible and let them convey their knowledge and expertise.
Yeah. It's the same to me. I rather, I see myself here as a host. I want to present and give a platform to the people I want to interview. So I think it's rather the voice of the guests than the voice of me. I'm just guiding to the entertainment. I think it's a pretty, especially now in the pandemic scene, it's a pretty interesting new way to get your information out.
Yeah, we just had someone ask in the comments, what's the name of the podcast? It's just called the Delphian Podcast.
Yes. I think the link is in your profile.
Yeah.
So Delphian Gallery or Delphian Gallery in Instagram.
Our last episode is worth checking out. There's we have a guest, a Mr. Oliver Elst, on the podcast.
Yes, this is how we get to know each other. So thanks again for inviting me.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, cool. Can you tell a little bit about your artists and your artists program? I saw this question as well in the comments.
Yeah, so we also, being artists ourselves, we didn't want to officially sign any artists.
Yes.
Because we think it's much more beneficial for the artists themselves. It's much more exciting to the artists themselves to be able to work with whoever they want and do all kinds of things all over the place.
Yes.
So we haven't signed anyone officially. When the artists that we do work with have shows elsewhere, we also publicise those shows. Mm-hmm. We're very non-competitive, I suppose, as a gallery. But there are artists that we work with regularly. So we show Florence Hutchins quite a bit. We've worked with Geordie Kerwick a few times. See, now I don't want to miss people out, so I have to reel off this big list. I'll just add a couple more. Igor Moritz we've shown quite a few times. Valerie Sabkits, Kevin Perkins, people like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we do the open call once a year. So there is a winners exhibition, a group show, 30 to 40 artists, and then the overall winner has a show. Mm-hmm. I should mention Rhiannon Salisbury, actually, she was the winner last year. Mm-hmm. So that's 2 shows of the year.
Cool.
Then we usually do, well, I say usually, we've been going less than 3 years, but we try and get in a few 2-person shows and solo shows. Mm-hmm. We don't do so many group shows, 1 a year max after the open call, but maybe not even that sometimes.
Yes. Okay, cool. Very nice. Okay, hey, great beard game, fellas. Interesting comment.
Oliver's beard is much better than mine. Super patchy at the sides.
I was growing it for long. Now it's 2 months, so I need to go to the barber shop.
Oh, that's 6 months.
Okay. Probably everyone is asking now themselves, how do you react now to the current pandemic scene? How a gallery can create, or what's the next step for you?
Well, the current step for us, we're doing this thing called lockdown editions. So basically, we're releasing a new print every week for the duration of the lockdown. And we're not taking a percentage of sales from those. So basically, we thought now is the time more than ever that artists, need assistance from people.
Yes.
Because obviously, being an artist is a difficult career to survive in economically anyway.
Yes.
So we thought now is the time. Basically, we need to kind of step up, I suppose. And we, because of those freedoms that I was talking about earlier, we don't have rent or staff or anything. Delphian Gallery is just me and Nick.
Yeah.
So although this is a nightmare and nobody would want this current situation, for us it's not as derailing as it is for other galleries.
Yeah.
So we thought, whilst we are able to do something like this, then we should, I suppose.
Yes.
So that is the plan for the duration of the lockdown. We're also kind of ramping up our online. So we have like a magazine online. We're ramping up what we're covering on there. We're doing a lot of this kind of thing, actually. Before this lockdown, I'd never been invited to do an Instagram live, and now this is like number 4 or 5 I've done in like 3 weeks.
Exactly.
But in terms of our program, we haven't cancelled anything yet, so we're just pushing things back. So our plan is to not cancel anything.
Yes. Okay. Very, very cool. Yeah, I think like especially now in this scene, like all these podcasts and especially Instagram Live is like really on the rise, and a big chance for everyone to share the messages. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And how do you think, like, which kind of effect or impact will the scene or the pandemic scene have on the total gallery scene and the market from your point of view?
I think it'll have a few effects. I think, sadly, it will. Some galleries are going to close probably. I think there's a lot of mid-level galleries that were kind of close to the wire anyway, and ticking over. And I hope I'm wrong, but I think some of those are going to end up closing. I hope it's as few as possible, obviously. Obviously, the economy is going to, or already is, suffering. So I think sales are going to decrease even after the lockdown. So once the lockdown's over, shows are going to start happening again. Sales are going to take a fair while to catch up, I think.
Yes.
So what's nice to see is that artists are being innovative. A lot of artists are kind of selling smaller, more affordable editions or sketches, that kind of thing online, and through Instagram, social media and stuff. And I think whilst that is great now because it's helping artists survive, I think that will also affect artists' sales post-lockdown potentially. Because a lot of people who have been hoping or planning to buy work by certain artists are getting that now for a lower price point.
Yeah. So
the demand for originals, because of the economy suffering and maybe because of the increased, more accessible sales happening now, I think the more expensive, larger originals, that will also suffer after this probably.
After this problem. Do you think like will probably some of the artists will, like, let's say, stop working and then rather look for something else because they can't survive the scenario, or do you think like still will continue on?
I'm sure some will have to. I hope nobody gives it up forever because of this.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's such a bad idea either. I think having at the level of career that say I'm at, I've been exhibiting for like 8 years, and I was full-time artist with no job for about 4 or 5 years of that time. Yeah. And then I got a job about 1.5 years ago, so I'm a lecturer at university now. And that job allows me the freedom to not concern myself with making work that I think is saleable. So I found myself, before I got this teaching job, I found myself making works that, so say releasing more prints, making more sketches and stuff available because I needed to just sell money to pay the rent. Whereas now I can spend 3-4 weeks on a piece and then cut it up with a Stanley knife if I don't like it. So it gives me the freedom to do things like that and not concern myself with sales. And I think that makes my work stronger in the long term.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to have something that takes your mind off it for a couple of days a week. So
yeah. Cool. And what is like your main, you're saying the teaching, you're doing artists, you're doing the gallery. So what is your both target with the gallery? You still do it as a side business, or you think in the future it will become your the single thing?
I don't want to speak for Nick, but for me, I feel like my career kind of has 4 elements. So I'm an artist, I'm a gallerist, I'm a writer, and I'm a lecturer. And I now think that all of those things are integral to what I do. So I can't imagine, say, even if I won the lottery tomorrow, I think my life wouldn't change so much. I think I'd continue doing all 4 of those things.
Yeah, cool.
I think Nick is the same. So I think Nick would... I can't imagine Nick quitting any of the things he does either. So I suppose our plan for Delphian is to... we've never really had a plan for Delphian. It's always incrementally grown. So I suppose our plan is to continue how it's going. And see how it goes, really.
I think if you survive this kind of, let's say, current crisis, I think you will get out of it very much stronger, and you see that your your innovative business model will absolutely completely on the rise. So because you're not fixed, you don't have to pay rents. I think it's pretty good. Absolutely, very nice. Okay, cool. And in general, from your point of view, do you have waiting lists, or do you do? Or what do you think in general about waiting lists from the gathering point of view?
We do for certain things, yeah. And I think although it would be nice if everything could be available for anyone who wanted it at any time, obviously that's not possible because for some artists, their work sells faster than they can make it. Yeah. So I think waiting lists are essential. And say, as an example, we released a book with Florence Hutchins a couple months ago that sold out within a few hours. And then we decided to do a second edition. So now we're collecting emails of everyone who missed out on the first edition or wants to get a copy of it. And then once we release that book, it will first be made available to those people because they've already expressed an interest in it. And it's the same with painting. So if we have to say no to someone for a painting, if we have to disappoint someone because the paintings have already sold, those people are the first in line when the next ones come available. So I think, although it would be nice if we could make things available for everyone, obviously there's not an infinite amount of work. So I think a waiting list is a fair way for people who miss out on getting hold of something, don't then just start again at the bottom of the ladder next time something becomes available.
Yes. Don't you think that is kind of as well a sorting out tool for most of the galleries to rather send it, sell it to bigger collections, museums, blah, 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 than to, let's say, unimportant or smaller collectors?
We don't do anything like that. So there's no hierarchy in our waiting lists or anything. Our waiting list is basically a list of people who have expressed an interest in buying something off us in the past. So say if someone inquires about a Rhiannon Salisbury painting and they can't get one because they've all gone or something, everyone who's requested one in the past and missed out, they all get the catalogue at the same time.
Yeah. Okay.
So we don't grade our collectors or anything.
Okay. Because I felt that in general, most of the the let's say mid-sized galleries and even the big galleries, they always tell you, okay, you're on the waiting list, you will receive maybe one day something, maybe not. It's sometimes, and as well with Stefan in the last interview, it's a kind of a sort out tool. But
we don't use waiting lists in that way.
Yeah, I guess as well, like the pandemic will clean most of the waiting lists. So probably.
Yeah, I suppose people will be selling to anyone who wants it right now. Surely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And and this question we already had. And can you give as well, since you're now four jobs in one person, and can you give a little bit some kind of advice from you as a gallerist, and as well yourself from an artist to artists and to collectors? Some kind of advices
about anything, or
about in general, about the gallery business, about being an artist?
So this is a question that we get asked a lot, so I'm going to try and not give the answer that I always give. I would say that a lot of artists, gallerists, a lot of people want to do something and they wait too long, and they wait till they're ready, and they wait till things are perfect. And as creatives, we are naturally perfectionists. Mm-hmm. So if you're waiting for something, if you're waiting for the perfect set of circumstances to do something, or you're waiting to be perfectly ready, you're never going to get there. So I would say jump in there with both feet as early as possible and learn by doing. So when we started a gallery, we didn't know what we were doing. Some might argue that we don't now, because we're artists. We were artists first. But I think that's the best way to learn. And I think forcing yourself outside of your comfort zone and doing something that you're unfamiliar with forces you to kind of work in interesting and innovative ways. So I would say if you have this idea, this dream of, I suppose it can apply to anything. If you have this dream of doing something, wait until all the circumstances are perfect is too late. Get in there already, I would say.
Yeah. I totally agree. You certainly have to start at a certain point, take the risk, and then you will see. Because otherwise, you will never start, I think, in the end.
Yeah, and also, don't be afraid of making mistakes either. Some of the stuff I've done in the past, and I look back now and I think, oh my God, what was I thinking? But that kind of thing is essential, right? You need to do that to get to the next step.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So don't be afraid of, there's this lesson that I do with my students about failure and about kind of recontextualizing failure, and thinking of these little mini failures just as stepping stones on the. I mean, this sounds a little bit cliche, but if you anticipate that you're going to make some of these little mini failures on the route, then they're not really failures because you're anticipating them. You're kind of intending to make them almost.
Yes.
So I wouldn't worry about it.
So the more failures you do, the bigger the success will be in the end. It's always learning and step by step, coming down, falling, and then popping up, and then you will get the success. I absolutely agree. Yeah, I agree exactly. And once you have to start, you will see the impact. You will see what can be achieved with these. When you start your podcast, when you start your Instagram, whatever you do, you never know what comes afterwards. And even with these live talks, so I think it's you can do it wrong in the beginning, and you will do your failures, and then suddenly it pops up, and it will become great. You have a success.
Yeah. And once you dive in at the deep end, you start learning a lot quicker than you would have done if you try and dip your toe in and creep your way up. If you dive straight in, you're kind of in crisis mode, and you get shit done. So
because I think when you tell the people oh, I want to open a gallery, it always sounds like everyone wants it sounds amazing, it's really nice, and everyone wants to do it, and but then always the critics say, oh yeah, please, and then how do you pay the rent, and what about the artists, what if they leave and stuff like this. What made you taking then in the end, let's say, the power and the strength and to really start it, despite of most people say probably, okay, rather don't do it?
Well, I mean, me and Nick both have the kind of mindset that we, if we have an idea and we want to do it, we'll just do it, even if it goes wrong. But the idea of starting a gallery and you think, right, I need some big, like, crisp, white-walled Mayfair space, and with, like, marble floors and whatever. There's artists and collectives and galleries out there curating shows in their own houses or in pubs or in phone boxes, or there's a gallery called the Pole Gallery, and it's like an A4 plastic envelope on a lamppost.
Yeah.
So I think this is like the human mind. When we think about some like lofty project like starting a gallery, the first thing you go to is kind of reasons why it can't work.
Yeah.
You think, oh, I need this space, or I need. It's all bullshit. Like you can start a gallery by creating an Instagram account.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's this guy Nicholas Burns who he has a gallery that's an Instagram account, and it looks to me very much like how Delphian started out a few years ago. Like we just started posting, and then all of a sudden here we are. So
yeah. I think it's much more easier. Like it's never been easier probably to start a gallery like, with all these tools we have today, and to spread your message and to show to everyone. I think it's a perfect moment.
And like this is a good example of how non-essential a crisp white-walled Mayfair gallery space is. Like they're useless right now. All of those galleries are latching onto social media. Yeah. They're all of a sudden discovering the power of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what do you think in this case about these online viewing rooms? What most of the galleries have to use now. What do you think about this from your point of view?
I've always thought that online exhibitions, it's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I'm yet to see one that does anything other than kind of present you with essentially what you would get as a catalogue anyway. There's a gallery actually called Slow Install on Instagram. And I don't know how much of this is secret, but apologies if it is. That gallery doesn't exist. So everything in that gallery is a 3D render. Yeah, so it looks like a 3D space with artworks in it. None of it is real. It's all done on a computer and it looks very real. Wow. That's the most interesting online exhibition space that I've seen. But I think a lot of galleries are defaulting to just sending out a PDF of images.
Yeah.
And so I think there is potential there for an online exhibition to be quite exciting and interesting. I haven't seen one yet, but I also haven't really been looking very hard. Yeah. So I'm sure they are out there.
Yeah. Okay, great. Because especially the galleries have to rethink now their models, as you said, big white walls. They're closed. No one can even go in. So what's the way of selling? The only thing you can be doing online via mail, stuff like this. Even the art fairs, they have big troubles. How questioning them? Are they still relevant? And how much will be relevant in the future? Especially in this case, have you ever been part of an art fair or
art fair? Fair. So with Delphian, we haven't done an art fair yet. Okay. I suppose I've exhibited a few in the past, but our plan is, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of in two minds about art fairs as an artist. They feel a little bit like supermarkets for art.
Yes.
I go to them sometimes. I don't always go to Freeze. I go sometimes, and so they're interesting, but they're not essential from an artist's point of view. Yeah. But then as a gallerist, it is kind of the next step, I suppose. So I suppose we are kind of thinking about doing fairs, but again, it's not something we want to rush into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's almost a lot of galleries do fairs because they have to be seen to be doing fairs.
Yeah.
Which is not something that we would usually kind of follow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested in the idea of fairs, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like the be all and end all like I think some galleries see it as being.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, great. Okay, I would like to hand over now to the community. Do you have some questions to Delphian Gallery?
Or to 50% of Delphian Gallery. Although Nick actually is commenting in the chat.
Nick is commenting. Yes, I saw this.
If anyone watching sees Nick J.S. Thompson commenting in the chat, that is the other half of Delphian.
And we have another question here. Where is it? Art needs a new business model. Okay, yes. I think it's definitely this. Okay, wait a second. We don't get any questions now. Okay. Do we have some questions from the community?
I'm sure I've seen a few.
Some more.
Who is an artist for you? What is art? Anything can be art. Anyone can be an artist. Anyone who makes art is an artist. Waiting is always too late from Braxton J. Fuller. Yeah, I agree.
Have you ever considered to have a closer look to a fixed room or like exhibition space?
Not really. No. I think the idea is to have one at some point. We don't really want to get ahead of ourselves, and I think this current crisis has proved that it was the right choice not to rush into something like that yet. Because obviously we're both still practicing artists, so doing a full year-long program at the moment would be too much anyway.
Yeah.
So we do a show every other month, pretty much.
Yeah.
And we try and work in our own shows in between those.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah.
And here's an interesting one. Do you think the current world situation will cause some artists to change direction and possibly produce their best works? Because
maybe. Yeah, I'm a big believer in limitation causing you to innovate.
Yep.
And obviously innovation is what makes the most exciting work. So I think there's a good chance it could. I think there's probably going to be a lot of coronavirus related art.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that might feel a little bit samey. But I think the limitation that it forces on people might result in some super exciting work. In fact, I'm sure it will. Yeah.
I think especially like everyone's locked down and the artists have no pressure of producing for next gallery exhibitions, fairs, stuff like this. I think there's a certain, let's say, relaxation in the working, and they can produce like more freely than they could have done maybe a year ago. Yeah, and so I think it's forcing people to try out things that they haven't tried before as well. Yes, it's interesting. Okay, great. Okay, some people asking how they can access the contest or can show you their artworks to you. Yes, I mean, not all galleries accept submissions. We do, but we get a lot of them. So we only accept them through our open call hashtag, basically. So we scroll that often. We do an annual open call for an exhibition once a year. Yes. So that was in February. Cool. But all year round, you can still be submitting to that hashtag, and we are still checking it. And we use that to choose artwork to post on social media or to exhibit. So there's artists that we've found through the hashtag that have gone on to have solo shows with us, either through the open call exhibition or otherwise. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. The hashtag is Delphian Open Call. What is the hashtag? Which was good. Is a good. Would be my next question. What is the hashtag again?
Delphian Open Call. I think Nick will probably be typing that in the box already, so I'm sure that'll come up. In limitation, causing you to innovate, and obviously innovation is what makes the most exciting work. So I think there's a good chance it could. I think there's probably going to be a lot of coronavirus related art.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that might feel a little bit samey. But I think the limitation that it forces on people might result in some super exciting work. In fact, I'm sure it will.
I think especially like everyone's locked down and all the artists have no pressure of producing for next gallery exhibitions, fairs, stuff like this. I think there's a certain, let's say, relaxation in the working, and they can produce like more freely than they could have done maybe a year ago. Yeah, and so I think it's forcing people to try out things that they haven't tried before as well. Yes,
it's interesting.
Okay, great. Some people asking how they can access the contest or can show you their artworks to you.
Yes, I mean, not all galleries accept submissions. We do, but we get a lot of them. So we only accept them through our open call hashtag, basically. So we scroll that often. We do an annual open call for an exhibition once a year.
Yes.
So that was in February.
Cool.
But all year round, you can still be submitting to that hashtag, and we are still checking it. And we use that to choose artwork to post on social media or to exhibit. So there's artists that we've found through the hashtag that have gone on to have solo shows with us, either through the open call exhibition or otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, the hashtag is Delphian Open Call.
What is the hashtag? Which was good. Is a good. Would be my next question. What is the hashtag again?
Delphian Open Call. I think Nick will probably be typing that in the box already, so I'm sure that'll come up in a second. But,
okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Here we sort out some of the questions.
We go on here from David W. Hicks. Should artists be using their time to radically experiment rather than produce their usual work? I think it's not really my place to tell artists what they should and shouldn't be doing. But I think artists should always be experimenting. So, yeah.
Okay. Here's another interesting question. Where when you see like your under your hashtag, how do you, let's say, kind of sort out the art and the artists in terms of quality? What are you looking for? What are the criteria?
That's kind of hard to answer. We just post work we love, really. So that can be artists we work with or artists we're not working with. So we post a lot about artists that exhibit with other galleries and shows at other galleries. We don't just rigidly stick to our group of artists like a lot of galleries do. So basically, we just look through Instagram and look through the hashtag, find stuff we like, and post it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Every artist outside, please use the hashtag, so you have a great chance to get picked by Delphian Gallery. This question we already had. Okay, we already said like you're rather looking for emerging artists, or would you rather as well look in future for established ones?
Not right now. No, our aim is early career emerging.
Okay. And for example, what does it mean like early career in terms of price or right after school, younger age? What is the criteria?
Well, it's not limited to age, I suppose. It's limited to, I suppose, position in the trajectory of their careers. So we go for. I mean, we do exhibit a lot of artists straight out of art school, or even so. Florence Hutchins had a sellout show with us while she was still a student. So in that sense, our criteria is early career, but that can be, I suppose, anything up until the point where an artist is too big that they would say no to us, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. And what is the price? What is the price tag like? How can you describe a little bit the prices or like?
Yeah. So
the price range.
Yeah. So we sell works for anywhere between a few hundred to less than 10,000. So in fact, I think we don't really show anything for more than, I think 8,000 might be the max. And yeah, so because a lot of our following is online, a lot of our sales through email, a lot of those sales go to people who haven't seen the actual artwork face to face. They've just seen an image of it. So we try and keep the price point a price point that reflects that. And also the price, I mean, we also don't have any input into the prices of the artists we're showing. So we would never set a price for an artist or tell them that their price is too low or too high. I don't think that's a gallery's job. I've had galleries in the past raise my price without asking me. And yeah, it's that's not what a gallery's for. So we choose artists whose work we love and we show it, but we don't set their prices.
Okay. And what about if an artist is coming to you and they say, I want to have like 15,000 pound for this? Would you like going in and raise your price target, or would you rather say, okay, please?
I mean, the artists that we're exhibiting, because they're early career, 15,000 isn't a price that we've encountered. I think were that to be the case, we would request smaller work probably, because I mean we know our collectors, and while some of them probably do buy artworks for that, for like say 10,000 plus, the majority probably don't. So we don't want to alienate our collectors either. So say we have exhibited artists who sell for 20,000, 30,000 pounds a painting, but we've exhibited small works by them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a great approach. Very nice. If you know your customer, like from the pricing point, I think it's much more successful to deliver what they really want in terms of price, rather than saying to them, hey, by the way, I have something which is over your price. They would rather say, okay, wait, it's too much for me. So it's pretty good. Here's an interesting question. How do you find the collectors?
Well, they find us really. We don't seek any collectors out or contact them and say, you've never heard of me before, but do you want to buy this painting?
Yeah.
Because I think the response will be no.
Yeah.
So we, I mean, we're pretty, we have a very specific approach to social media, and we treat it very seriously. And I guess that translates to some people. I think also we're lucky in the fact that I suppose our taste in art resonates with some collectors. How did you discover us? Because we met because you started sharing our posts.
How did I met you? I think I found you on Instagram, and I saw Igor Moritz. I think he's in the chat now too. And somehow through this, I was posting one of yours, your stuff, and then we somehow get into the contact. So it was maybe some months ago. I don't know. Yeah.
So all through Instagram, I suppose.
So mostly Instagram. I think it's pretty good. And Instagram is now becoming like the bigger, let's say, art market, online art market than for let's say for art in general. I think it's pretty easy and good tool for finding art, finding artists, finding galleries, inquire easily, just write a message. I think it's much more easy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yes. Because like if you're an artsy, let's say you have to fill out your profile, you have to do this and that, and then you're sending a mail, then you have to wait 2-3 days sometimes, and Instagram is sometimes much faster. So it's pretty good tool in this case, in current situation. But although I'm loving Artsy, I really do a lot of research on there. But for asking and inquiring, it's
I mean,
a bit more easy.
they're both good for different things, right?
Yeah.
Artsy is more like a static catalog.
Yes.
Whereas Instagram is much more mobile, and things don't stay at the top of your feed for long. So things disappear and stuff like that. It's much more transient, but I think that's one of the good things about it. So yeah, things like Artsy and a website and things like that they still occupy a very valid place in the art world.
Yeah.
It's just a slightly different one to what Instagram. So Instagram won't replace any of those things, but yeah.
I think they will be both
Exactly.
accessible. I think both are very good. This question we are. Have you your teaching role, has it somehow influenced your concept of seeing work, seeing art?
As an artist, yes. I was feeling a little bit trapped in the work I was making, because I'd been making art of a similar style for so long that that was kind of what people expected, I suppose. And my works would take so long that I would make them for shows, and I would never really have time to experiment and play. And through teaching, I would speak to my students, and they'd come up with these crazy ideas, and then they'd go off and do them. And I would think to myself, I wish I had that freedom to do that, and to make something and not really worry about where it's going, or if it's saleable, or if it's or if I'm making it for a specific gallery or show. And then I kind of realized, actually, I do have that freedom. So I thought, I'm just going to not show for a while. So I didn't show for about half a year. I didn't do a single show. I started making new works and gave myself the freedom to make some bad works to begin with. Just played and didn't really try and concern myself with where the works were going, which was the first time that I'd done that since I started exhibiting. So yeah, that had quite a big effect on me, really, I suppose. It made me feel like it gave me freedom, but actually it just made me realize that I had this freedom all along.
Okay. Would you recommend to some artists outside, or like in the community, to do like a certain period of freedomness to create something new and find a new way? Or can you recommend something from this point of view?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend artists made more work that they were making for themselves rather than making for shows or making for selling or things like that. I draw a lot, and probably like 50-60% of it never gets seen by anyone, because I only show and exhibit like the best of a bad bunch. So I would. So I suppose that's kind of experimentation in a way, but I would definitely recommend to more artists to kind of make stuff just for themselves and for the fun of it, rather than considering where it's going.
Yeah. I think it's currently, especially now, it's the time to do this. I think take your time, experiment, do some crazy shit, and then let's see where it's going, and then maybe in the end you find a completely new style.
Yeah,
really agree. Cool. Okay. Do we have some more questions here?
I get really dry mouth when I talk, so I'm going to have to crack open another Diet Coke. Sorry about that.
No problem. Yeah, I forgot to take my bottle of water, but it's all right. Are concepts important for your work?
In my work, I try not to think about what they mean at all. So I try and there's a really good saying that's like, an artwork has as many meanings as it has viewers, and I really like that. And I try and not be prescriptive with what my work means or what I'm trying to convey. I try as hard as I can not to think about what I'm doing, and I try and just make, and then I kind of allow the viewer to make their own mind up, I suppose. And I often don't actually even look at my works and try and retroactively work out what they mean, because they mean what they mean to whoever looks at it. So when you look at one of my works, you might think, oh, it means this because of certain pattern or imagery might remind you of experiences you've had. And I think your opinion on what one of my paintings means is as valid as my opinion. So I don't want to use my opinion to change anyone else's opinion. So in my work, I mean, I suppose there is concept there, but that concept is variable, and I don't try and decide what it's going to be for other people.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw another great question here. Like in general, like Delphian Gallery media specific, I noticed that a lot of painting are quite popular on your social media. Is painting what your guys interesting the most?
Yeah, you know, we didn't. We never kind of had a meeting and thought, right, this is the kind of work we're going to show. We've got very similar tastes, just because we're friends, I suppose. But we haven't. I mean, it has transpired that we show painting a lot, but it was never the intention for us to be a gallery that shows painting. Our first solo show was with a photographer. So I suppose the stylistic approach of Delphian is just subconscious. It's just something that happens because we're posting artwork that we like, I suppose. I mean, we like Nick's a photographer. I'm super into like conceptual art, but we don't really post so much of those. But that hasn't been a conscious decision. I suppose.
Okay. Let's say, for me personally, I'm rather a painting guy too. I love painting, and it also works on paper. I'm not too much into sculpture, although I don't say that they're not nice in general, but I'm rather a painting and a sketch guy.
There's a good question here from a private collection.
Yes, I was about to say, yes.
It used to not be accepted to be an artist and a gallerist. It used to be frowned upon. I didn't know that. Is there a wider exception now? I've got no idea, but I also don't care. So, I don't know.
Okay, but I think it's a good way to see both parts. I think artists should rather have, like, let's say, a certain kind of business spirit in how marketing, how they sell their stuff, good, and not just create. Although it's good that they're just creating, but in the end they have to live from their earnings and to somehow have to sell it. And if they just give the works to the gallery, they will take their percentage, 40-50% of selling it. But on the other hand, as well, it's good that the gallerists understands how hard it is to create a great piece of art, you know. And I think if you have both ways and you lived both ways once, or you're still doing it as you're doing now, I think it's a good interaction from both points of view, and you rather can judge the business on the one point and the artist and art view from the other point. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend all artists to curate, for sure. Like, when I was first started exhibiting, I didn't really understand what galleries do. And I think, galleries do a lot more than artists think they do. And so for that reason, I would definitely recommend more artists having some experience of curation. And also, it's kind of taught me a lot about my own work and my own approach to exhibiting and curating my own work. And just all of the, like you said, all of the businessy stuff about being an artist, all of the marketing and branding and sales and mailing lists and all of that stuff is something that all artists need to learn about. So, yeah. Yeah,
great. Very cool. We have now 1.5 minutes left for this 1 hour. Would you be open to, let's say, to open another chat and we ask some questions?
Yeah, I've got no plans the rest of the evening. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So, community, I will close this chat now. It's 1 minute left, and I will reopen the new one. Hopefully, see you soon. All. Okay, great.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Nice.
So, it's been pretty successful.
Wonder how many of them are coming back.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Okay, great. Do we have some more questions from the community?
I think they're all just still joining right now.
Yeah. So pretty good. Do you do like how do you engage like your Instagram? What are your recommendations to artists, to collectors? How to let's say create a successful Instagram and how to use it professionally?
Well, I think a lot.
Yes.
Or they do it on the bus on the way home.
Yes.
Which is something that people wouldn't do, say, with their LinkedIn. And I think that's because social media has these adolescent throwaway connotations that means people don't treat it like a business tool. Mm-hmm. And that is essentially what it is. So I would advise people to take it much more seriously, but also use it to engage with people.
Yes.
So it's not just like a pinboard where you can display how great you are to the world. It should be something that you should provide value with, and you should engage with what other people are doing.
Yes.
Instead of just forcing what you're doing upon them. Yes. So it should be reciprocal, and it should be kind of it's called social media for a reason, right? It's about creating a community rather than just selling yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So treat it like that and create or engage with a community. I think that's the best way I could put it, really.
Yeah.
I think a lot of galleries, now that their physical space is closed, are realizing that they haven't been doing that. And so I think this lockdown is showing a lot of people the value of things like social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's forcing them to learn very quickly how to use it effectively.
Yeah, great, very cool. Here's a good question. Do you think artists should post prices or available on works they post?
Not on social media, no.
Okay.
I think because that's just I think it's just a little bit crass, and it's a little bit like I was saying before, really, it's trying to sell too hard. Instagram isn't a selling platform. It's not like some e-commerce website where you can click buy for it. It's more like a visual journal, I suppose, or something like that. So being too direct with your kind of selling through Instagram is maybe not the best approach. I mean, I'm sure some people have good success doing that, but I think the true value in social media isn't its value as an e-commerce platform, because that's not what it's created for. That's not why people go on it. People go on it to discover art, but they don't go on necessarily to buy art.
Yeah.
It also, though, has like the another negative kind of reason why that kind of thing isn't necessarily ideal is that, firstly, it kind of looks a little bit needy, which people don't like. And if things don't sell super quick, that can be seen as being a negative on the part of the collectability of the artist. So if things sit around for ages unsold, that can like become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because some collectors might see that and think, well, this artist isn't very saleable.
Yeah. What do you think in general, like about this topic in general, showing prices in the art market, in the galleries? Why, from your point of view, why the galleries need to not show the prices?
I think showing prices. There's been a study about this, I think by Artsy, and collectors much prefer to see the price. It makes it a lot easier to buy a piece.
Yeah.
There is a lot of insecurity, I think, in people. I think I would feel the same if I had to go and ask for the price of something if I was interested in it.
Yeah.
Because if I'd like a painting and I ask how much it is and they say £10,000, all of a sudden I feel very awkward for even asking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people buying art prefer for the prices not to be listed.
Yeah.
For the prices to be listed. I think artists and galleries maybe don't like the price to be listed because either, I don't know, maybe it's an insecurity about how high or how low the price is one of the reasons that people don't like to show prices. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Do you think the price has an impact on how people see art?
Yeah.
For example,
Yeah, I think if I was to look at a painting and see that it was like a few £100,000,
yes,
that artist is significant in at least some sense. So that's not to say that the work is good, but that artist is significant some way, for some reason. So the flip side happens when if a price is like an original painting is like £10, that also can make the artist look insignificant. I would never not engage with an artwork because it's either too cheap or too expensive, because it's kind of irrelevant to me. I don't really buy art, but I think for people who buy art, that can have a big effect. Yeah.
Yes. But I have to say, in this case, like even let's say expensive art is sometimes not good art. You know, like
exactly.
Although like it's an established artist, whatever, and then it's £100,000, whatever, and then you see the work from a different point of view, but you rather get affected by the price point than by the art itself. You think, oh, it's so much money, and then you see the artwork from a different view. But in the end, you have to, let's say, erase the price and ask yourself, is this art good? Is it worth it? Is it the money? Is it the artist? Is it the message? What's behind this? And in this case, like sometimes I feel like you have to question the price. You have to question the artwork. You have to question the scene around this artwork in general.
I think the best way to look at an artwork is to not know who made it or how much it is.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
I absolutely agree. If you get flashed by the artwork itself, then even the price is maybe not interesting.
Yeah.
Or the artist's name. Very cool. Yeah, it's for me. This is very interesting. Talking about art and about prices with a gallery, because this is always a discussion point. Cool. Okay. Are you interested in buying and building a collection of works the artist you are representing?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, I'm not really in a position to be buying artwork at the moment. I mean, I trade art with some artists whose work I really like. I think being a gallerist who is also a collector, that can muddy the water a little bit. Say if I owned 20 paintings by an artist whose work I was exhibiting, I might not be so objective in my support for that artist, say. So I think it can have an effect. But that's not to say that galleries shouldn't collect art, because we all love art, right? And we should be supporting artists. But yeah, I'm not really in a position to be collecting in any kind of major scale right now anyway.
Okay. I think like gallery collectors or like collectors dealers, like how most say, most of them, they have pretty great collections, I have to admit, like because they get it right at hand for a good price, and somehow rather keep it for themselves, the good stuff, and sell, let's say, the second or the B works, whatever it is, how you can describe it. But in the end, they are in the situation to somehow get good works, keep them rather for themselves, and sell it to maybe some let's say worse works to normal collectors.
Yeah.
In this position, they are sometimes in a better position than a normal collector.
Yeah. Also, though, on the flip side, like collectors, well, gallerists are gallerists because they love art, and the same with collectors.
Yes.
The same for both of them 90% of the time. So there's no real reason why people shouldn't be both of those. But I think it can sometimes just complicate things, maybe.
Yes. On the other hand, like a gallery has to pay their bills, which is like a different point of view. So they have to sell it. A collector doesn't need to sell it if he doesn't want to. Okay, great. Okay, we have an inquiry. Do you want to buy a work for $100 from Vicky Kilander? How do you find art one? I'm just trying to sort out some questions which we didn't already answered. This one's already have. Do we have some new questions?
Got a very quick answer to this question from Lisa. What attracts me to someone's work? I have no idea. Sorry.
Okay.
I really don't know.
It's hard to describe.
Yeah.
Even from a collector's point of view, it's kind of a gut feeling. For me, I always describe it as a gut feeling. If you're attracted to it, you feel it, you see it, and then you suddenly realize, okay, I want this. I really love it. Go for it. It's very hard to describe. It's a certain instinct, gut feeling, whatever, how you describe it.
I've got an even quicker answer to this question from Baston Dorf Artist. Is it possible to be a great artist today? Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. There are many.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the artist support pledge? I think it's great. I think.
Hello?
The supportive element to it as well. The fact that once you've sold a certain amount of artworks, you then buy something. So I've now bought two. So I sold some work through the post. So I've now bought two artworks from two artists whose work I really like. So yeah, it's great.
Cool. Okay, what qualities would you define a great artist?
I mean, resonance with other people, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't talk in terms of career success because there's artists like Henry Darger, who, although his work was kind of questionable and his intentions may be questionable, his work is good and he's considered a great artist even though he never had any kind of success commercially. So yeah, what was the question?
The question was, what are the qualities of a great artist?
I suppose making great work, maybe inspiring people, being innovative, maybe.
Okay, I found another one which I want to ask you. Is a BFA or an MFA important to being a successful artist?
No, I don't think so.
From a gallerist point of view.
I don't think so. Well, from my point of view, definitely not. Of all the artists who we've exhibited, I've got no idea who does and doesn't have qualifications.
Yeah.
I've never asked anyone. As an artist myself, I've never been asked. So having a qualification isn't essential, at least in my eyes, but having a certain level of understanding and education is important. So that could be that could just be like educating yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to come from an institution, in my mind.
Yeah.
I think some people, I don't know, I'm sure there are people who kind of care about where artists studied or whatever, but I don't think an artist is good because they studied at a good school.
Yeah.
I think an artist is good if their work is good. So for me, it's irrelevant.
Yeah. I agree. I know some artists who are self-taught and they're super amazing. So there's no need for having an MFA or BFA. It's nice to have, but if your work is stunning and flashing to people, I think it's not relevant.
I think if people are looking at the qualifications of artists, they're not looking closely enough at the work.
Yeah, I agree. Very good say. What is an example of a difficult situation you encountered dealing with an artist, and how did you approach the issue?
This could get me into trouble. You know what? We haven't encountered any, really. No, I think, I think some artists can kind of take themselves too seriously, but we haven't really encountered any as a gallery.
Yeah.
All the artists we've worked with have been great. So I can't really answer that question because we haven't really encountered any. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure we will. But yeah, I don't know.
Okay, cool. What are your favorite artists in general?
Early career Maria Bramrich. So when she was doing like performance,
very cool.
Like extreme performance, like transgressive kind of work. Chris Burden, Mona Hatoum, Lucian Freud.
Oh, Lucian Freud, amazing.
Vincent van Gogh. Hernan Bass, painter, amazing.
Yeah. Hernan Bass.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the names that come into mind are all kind of performance artists, and that's the genre of art that I write about most. Cornelia Parker is another favourite. Yeah.
Cool. Good. Okay. Are there any active collectors under 50, and do they collect differently? Yes, here I am.
Yeah, I was going to say, how old are you?
I'm under 50, and I'm very active. Are you planning to do more international exhibitions?
Yeah, so we do. For the last 2 years, we've done 2 a year, which is a third of our program yearly, because we do 6 shows a year. So yeah, that is our plan. We don't want to limit ourselves just to London. We also don't just show artists from London. We try and show artists from all over the place. So yeah, international is the goal.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. And what is the first thing you do after lockdown?
Barbecue.
You can do that even during lockdown, no?
Yeah, it'd just be a barbecue me on my own. But,
yeah, true.
just like one sausage on a little disposable barbecue.
That's pretty boring. No conversation.
Last year we did a Delphian barbecue where we invited all the artists we'd worked with that year to come have a barbecue at our house.
Great.
So that would be my first thing.
Cool. Very cool.
And I'd get on with the shows that we've had to reschedule.
Yeah.
So that's Nettle Grelier and George Lloyd Jones. They've been rescheduled. That was going to be in London. Florence Hutchins in Paris.
As a collector, do you concern yourself with running out of a wall space for all art you've collected and love? Not so much. I think that's a luxury problem, I have to say. If you're running out of
the first world problem, yeah.
If you have not enough space, of course you always buy, and you can't have them all on your, let's say, on your walls, but in the end you can change them. So I think it's a luxury problem if you can tell you don't have enough walls.
Yeah.
This question I don't understand what they were saying. Do we have some more questions? Do you look for artists or do they approach you? This is what we mentioned. Please use the hashtag. Regarding Corona, we already talked to. Do you like the approach, the artist? Do you like the artist approach? Is it difficult to go through a lot of artist submissions?
Yes.
And
it's difficult in terms of time. I mean, it's very exciting to look through and discover super exciting art. Mm-hmm. I've discovered so many artists this year that I hadn't heard of the year before. So it's difficult in terms of it takes a lot of time, but it's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Is there a particular medium your gallery is focused on? Like we saw that, but we already answered that question. Is not so much. That's an interesting one. Is it great all from the social point of view, but I think it favors artists who post a lot quantity over quality. Do you think it's quantity over quality, or like in terms of you, what is important for an artist?
I'd say the amount you post is not super important. The amount you engage with other people is. So that's not posting lots or getting lots of likes. It's having conversations with people. Like Instagram and Facebook and all of these things are social media. They're called social media. They're excellent tools with which to be social. Like we're doing now, we're having this chat through Instagram. It could have been through Zoom or anywhere, but that is where the value lies in social media, is the engaging with people in a genuine way. Meeting, there's so many artists who I know that I speak to very regularly that I have never met. Or there's a lot of artists who I know that I have met, that I met through social media. Yeah. So it shouldn't just be seen as this like website or billboard on which you just like place your work for people to look at. So I think the amount of work you're posting, to me, not super interesting. It's more about the person behind that.
Yeah, okay, very cool. And okay, this is an easy one. How to successfully get a gallery's attention? I think it's easy. Just make good art now. And
it's about making
kind of catching eye.
Yeah, it's about making good art, and it's about putting it out there. So nobody's going to come and knock on your door and say, "Do you happen to be a painter? And can I see your work?"
Yeah,
you've got to put your work out there for people to discover. So most galleries don't want to be told what is good or to be approached in ways that don't really fit with their submission guidelines.
Yeah,
but there are ways you can make yourself visible.
Yeah.
And social media is a great way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, I think the questions, they're kind of repeating now in general. Do you have any more, like some last comments, some advices? Maybe we have some new people in the community to artists, like from your point of view. Maybe repeat what you said in the last hour. What was the question? Can you get some last advices to artists, and maybe to sum it up, where can they show their works to you? You mentioned the hashtag, just to round up and make some last advertising for you. Yeah, well, I mean, if people want to show us their work, use the hashtag on Instagram. That's the easiest way for us to look at works. If you're submitting to galleries in general, not just us, don't kind of find a big batch of gallery emails online and then just send them all the same email with loads of images in an email, because galleries get a lot of that, and they just fill up your inbox. Like, inboxes don't have an unlimited amount of storage. So if you're sending like 6 images in an email, galleries are getting loads of those. The majority of them probably don't get looked at. Yeah. So if you're going to submit to a gallery, make sure that you follow their submission guidelines, because they're there for a reason. And don't submit to every single gallery that you can find, because
say I would never submit my work to a gallery that exhibits only like 18th century tapestries because it's pointless.
Yeah.
So to do that would be a waste of my time. It'd be a waste of their time.
Yeah.
Artists should look for galleries where their work would fit. Because say I did submit to that gallery that shows tapestries and they for some reason went, yeah, we'll show it. My work's not going to go down very well amongst their clientele anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So look for galleries that show artworks that you can see yourself fitting in with.
Mm-hmm.
And then engage with what they're doing. And you should be doing that anyway because if it's a gallery that you can see yourself fitting in with, it's naturally going to be a gallery that you're going to be interested in what they're doing anyway.
Yeah.
So engage with them about that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Yeah. Okay. To everyone, please visit Delphian Gallery's website, Instagram, and use the hashtag. It's your chance to submit your works. They're doing a great job, and absolutely, I love the business model you have. That you have no space. You are like a nomadic gallery. I really like this. And please subscribe then to their podcast to get some insights from artists, from collectors. And again, I will be online again on Sunday evening with my next collectors talk. And I hope you all can join. Otherwise, find some news or some information about my collection. It's Cuperior.com, Cuperior, and you find it here as well through my Instagram. Thank you so much for joining, and hope to see you soon. And please all take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we will stay in contact.
Yeah, man. All right. See you later.
See you.
That was a longie. All right. See you later.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.